Welcome to Big Coast, boating, angling, and adventure on British Columbia's west coast. Subscribe, like, leave a comment below. Summer of 2023, Mercury Bridgeview West Coast Expedition. One big boat trip, starting in Bella Bella, all the way north to Hartley Bay, and back. Well, we left Bella Bella for a great big run up to North King Lodge, hundreds of miles up the coast past Klemtu and into northern BC. James and Don McNeice, Eric and Andy from Mercury, myself, all aboard a BV30 with twin 500 Mercs on the back. A great sled for a great trip north. Unbelievable trip for the boys, and what a floating lodge at North King, an experience unto itself. One of the premier fishing operations on the west coast and a big Bridgeview Mercury player, North King is one of the finest angling outfits anywhere on the west coast. When we rolled into North King, Clint and Nigel, the owners, welcomed us with open arms, and we kicked off our trip with a great dinner and style. A great kickoff to the trip in North King. Got some solid salmon fishing in before boating north to Hartley Bay, home of the Gitgat Nation and one of the finest outposts on the entire west coast. From the fledgling Guardian program to Spirit Bear tourism and a bustling economy, Little Hartley Bay is one of the drivers in the north coast and really forward looking. After a quick trip to Hartley Bay and lunch at our good buddy Cam's, it was back to North King Lodge for the night and a regroup on the central coast. Leaving North King, we had some awesome halibut fishing with the crew just off Aristobal Island. Got our limit of halibut in just a couple of hours and then headed south doing some sightseeing. Unfortunately, the weather came up in the interim. We couldn't make it across McInnes and Milbanke Sound, so I had to take the long way back around Matheson Channel. It added about 3 hours to our trip, but that's the way it goes on the west coast sometimes. King Pacific Lodge, a fine Bridgeview Mercury lodge right on Milbanke Sound outside Bella Bella, our home base the last couple days of our trip. And our next day was a big one. We left KPL and headed north back across Milbanke to Klemtu, home of the Kitasoo Hay Nation, and this was Aboriginal Peoples Day, a big deal on the west coast and in our tiny First Nations communities. We were welcomed into the big house, the children were dancing and drumming, there was food, there was displays, it was great hospitality from the nation, and after that, we got to go bear watching. So we took Andy and Eric from Mercury, Don and James from Bridgeview, along with Doug Niesloss and a buddy of ours, Brady, and we headed up Mussel Inlet to one of the most amazing places on earth. And this is what ecotourism is all about. We got close to 2 or 3 grizzlies, rolled up the estuary with Doug and Brady as our guides, saw some just amazing flora and fauna, what the Great Bear Rainforest is all about. The final chapter of our Mercury Bridgeview trip, an amazing one at King Pacific Lodge. After all that bear viewing, we tripped back down for the evening, caught a great sunset, had a great meal, and were able to relax and reminisce about what an incredible trip we'd had over 4 or 5 days and just the number of sheer miles we covered on the west coast. From great big humpback whales breaching, to grizzly bears, to some of the finest boating you'll ever see, to some First Nations access and experiences that most people would never even understand or get a chance to entertain. It was an amazing trip for Don, for James, for Eric, for Andy, and myself. Bridgeview, summer of 2023, Mercury trip, West Coast style. Thanks for watching Big Coast. Leave a comment, share a story. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Big Coast.